Hello, welcome back to my library. Nice to see you. So glad you're here. Always appreciate you stopping by. It's Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. I have pulled every single book from my shelves that is a Black story, written by a Black author. We're gonna go through all of them to celebrate my collection. So this isn't a haul, this is like an active collection. But I wanted to share with you what I have and talk about the books, talk about the ones I've read, talk about the ones I haven't read, celebrate Black literature. And we're gonna start with a book that I'm currently reading, Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. It's about a guy named David who is living in France, who is closeted, and meets Giovanni. I'm like 25 pages into this book. I haven't read enough to give you my thoughts. I am enjoying James's writing, and I definitely want to get more into his work. So this is my first James Baldwin. Next up is Toni Morrison. So I have A Mercy by Toni. I have Song of Solomon, Paradise, Beloved, which is apparently a horror. But now I'm curious, so I think I'm probably going to put this in a horror theme just to see if that's true. I also have Jazz and Sula, which so far is the only Toni Morrison I've read. Everyone says Sula is a good one to start with, and I did really enjoy it. And I just haven't had a chance to read any more of her books. I don't want to read them all back to back, so I'm trying to put them in reading themes because I want to savor them. I want to just, really enjoy the process of reading her work. But I feel like it's been too long since I read one, so I need to get on that. I also have a play, which I haven't read, but I should. I don't know if I'm into reading plays. I didn't like reading plays when I had to read them for theater class. Just something about the way they're formatted doesn't sit with me, but maybe I can get over that. Maybe I can try to expand my little brain. But that is A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hasbury. And, honestly, I'm not really sure what this is about. I should. That in Chicago's South Side, plot revolves around conflicts within 3 generations. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, I do know this. I do know the story. Could I tell you right now? Absolutely not. But I have seen portions of this play. I should read this. I'm embarrassed that I can't tell you what this is about. I should definitely know. That's embarrassing. I am embarrassed thoroughly. Watch me squirm. Next up is an author that I need to start digging into. Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. I tried to read this a long time ago, like probably 5, 6, 7, and I was struggling with the way that it's written. Not because I think it's inferior or anything, don't get it twisted. I need to get better about reading it so I can get my inner voice to get the cadence. So I think I'm going to get this on audio and read along with it because I definitely want to work that muscle in my head. If this brain can do a British accent, it can do this. So this is quickly on my list to read. I just need to get a theme for it. Next up is a nonfiction, Southern Horrors and Other Writings, the Anti-Lynching Campaign of Ida B. Wells, 1892 to 1900. And this is just a collection of her writings, articles, essays, as the title implies, from like the time that it's happening, like literally on the ground, political journalism. I am a huge fan of Ida. I would love to learn more about her and just, gain as much knowledge as possible. And I'm excited to read her writings. I'd love to read more by her and just dig into whatever else she has to offer and see what's going on in her little noggin. Just see what she be talking about. Next up, right off the stack, is The Classic Slave Narrative, The Life of Adula Iniko, The History of Mary Price, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, edited with the introduction by Henry Louis Gates Jr. I picked this up recently. I do think it's important to know the stories of enslaved people and know what it was like to live in such horrific conditions and know our U.S. history. I do believe that Black history isn't just talking about the horrors that happened to our ancestors. I think it's also celebrating the resistance and the resilience through that time, and also how they have thrived since, and not focusing on just the horrible things that happened to them, but knowing the horrible things is also important. I keep seeing posts this month talking about the joy, and through even the worst days of our history, we have always come through with creating art and music and laughing, developing skills and resources that are passed down to us to this day. But I think this is going to be a book where I read read maybe one of them at a time. I really want to meditate on it and learn from the experience. Next up is The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot. This is written by a white author, but you know, I'm not gonna hold it against it. This tells the story of Henrietta, who, if I remember correctly, her cells were used to make the polio vaccine, also some other things with genetics. She was never given any credit. They never gave, you know, her family never made any money off of it. Like, just basically used her body for experiments. And this is the story of her and her life, what happened to her. This is a book that I do really want to get into. I definitely want to learn her story, but I'm afraid of nonfiction. I need to get over that. I'm trying so hard, and I had a DNF in nonfiction earlier, but it was for a good reason. This one was given to me by my grandmother very, 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 very long time ago, and I have not read it. And I don't know why I didn't read it as a kid, but I kept it for sentimental reasons, obviously. But it's At Her Majesty's Request, An African Princess in Victoria, England by Walter Dean Myers. This is a nonfiction written for children, and it's about Sarah Forbes Bonyetta. Basically, the queen thought she was cool and wanted to keep her. That's essentially what happened. Now, this is written for children, so it's going to be a light version of it. And I would like to know more about this story. Next up is Bound for the Promised Land, Harriet Tubman, A Portrait of an American Hero. This is by Kate Clifford Larson, also written by a white woman. Again, not going to hold that against them. We're just going to see what's going to happen with that. And this is the life of Harriet Tubman. It's a biography. My copy is kind of worse for wear, but we won't hold it. Oh my god, this font is tiny. Teeny, tiny, tiny. I'm definitely gonna get more books about Harriet Tubman. I want to get some that are written by Black women specifically. But I didn't realize that when I purchased this one, because I got it online and I didn't look up the author. I'm trying to be better about it. I'm trying to be better. Next up is a book I absolutely need to read. My friend got this for me 2 years ago and I've yet to read it. And this is going to be read very soon. I think in my next reading theme, I'm going to just figure out a way to squeeze it in. And it's All About Love by Bell Hooks. I know I need to read this. I need to add some brain wrinkles. I need to expand my knowledge. I need to really dig into this. I think it'd be helpful for me in so many ways as it is for so many other people. And I do want to read their other nonfictions. I think I'm more interested in them, honestly. Communication, Female Search of Love, Salvation, Black People in Love. There's also one for men specifically. I also want to read they have to say about writing, and but you know, I'm going to start with this one and go ahead and do my best to expand my brain. Try to learn something. Not be afraid of it. Oh my god. This is a book I've had forever, and I need to get into this. I actually forgot I had it. I found it while looking for something else. So, very exciting. And that book is Accomplished African American Women in Victorian America. This is by Dr. Monroe A. Majors. This is basically little vignettes about Black women in America, what they did, why they were important. Each chapter is dedicated to one person and gives a brief biography about them. Some are longer than others. I really do want to dig into this and learn more about some accomplished Black women in the Victorian times. I do have a special interest in Victorian and Edwardian times. I definitely want to learn more about people who look like me and would have been my community in that time. This one is a book I thrifted. I just thought it was so cute and I wanted to pick it up. And it's Singers of the Blues. It's a old ex-library book. And again, it's little sections of blues singers. This is written by Frank Serge. It has like photos in here. Let me find. So we have Louis Armstrong, Bessie Smith. We have Billie Holiday. What a queen, what a legend. And it's just like a little book of blues singers. And I just think that's so sweet. I had to have it. I had to pick it up. All right. We're going to do this stack so I don't forget about it. I believe all this is historical fiction. This is Roots by Alex Haley. Like The Roots. I think this is a 75 printing of it. 1976. I remember seeing the miniseries replayed on TV when I was a kid. I remember it being a big deal in the 90s, and my whole family sat down and watched it. My mom and dad were like, we're watching Roots. It was eye-opening for me. I was very young, and I was like, oh my god, slavery is bad. Hello, it's Barbara from The Void. I am currently editing this video for you, and I needed to add in some context about when I saw Roots as a small child. When I was a small child, slavery was explained to me and I knew that it was bad. But because I was a small child, they really left out some of the more gruesome details. So when I saw Roots for the first time at the age of 8 or 9, it was the first time that I realized how bad it actually was. And the levels of mistreatment and dehumanization and just, the horrors that enslaved people went through in America. It was the first time I saw it live and in color, and it kind of blew my little mind because it was worse than I could have ever imagined. And that's what I mean when I realized slavery was bad. I realized how bad it actually was, and I'm still continuing to learn how bad it is. Every day I learn anything that absolutely horrifies me about that time and what our people went through, but Roots was the first time that the two dots connected. That's the clarification. I'm gonna let past me get back to it. Thanks for dealing with me. Goodbye. I need to get on that. I need to get reading that soon, eventually, in the near future. All right, we're doing well. We're gonna get through this. Next up is a book I just finished, also for my reading theme in the mind of men, and that is James by Percival Everett. This is a kind of a retelling, according to Percival, it's not a retelling, but everyone's saying it's a retelling of The Adventures of Huck Finn from the perspective of Jim, and we follow Jim during the same portion that the original story by Mark Twain was written in. If you want to know my thoughts about this, you're going to have to watch that reading theme. I'll put it in the description for you. I did enjoy this though, just to let you know. I do think it's worth picking up if you're curious about it, but if you want to know my thoughts, please go watch that video. I'd appreciate it. Next up is a book I'm very, very excited about. I loved the movie growing up. It is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I absolutely wanted the cover with Whoopi on it. This movie was so important to me. Just a little bit of Barbara lore. I am mixed race. I was raised primarily by the white side of my family. Any connection to blackness I have, I built brick by brick, okay? It is what it is. And I grew up in a primarily white area, and I think mixed people who's raised primarily with their white side of their family get it. And I don't know, if you don't get it, you don't get it. But leave in the comments who you think which of my parents is the white one. It's probably very obvious. Anyway, that is just a self-roast. But The Color Purple was one of the first forms of media that I really connected to and related so much to Celie and the relationship with her sister. I really loved the musical that came out, although I definitely appreciate the Whoopi Goldberg version better. I want to get it on DVD to put into my physical collection. And just, I think this is a true testament. You can overcome anything. Still traumatic. Don't get me wrong. Like, you still traumatized. Like, don't get me wrong. But the story of Celie and how she just became this. And I really love the line where it's like, I don't know it verbatim, but the reason why the book is called The Color Purple, there's a line in this is, I know that God is real because would the color purple exist? The color purple was my favorite color for a long time and still is because of this story. And I want to read the original text so badly. I'm actually when I finally got it, I was like, I'm going to drop everything and read this right now. But I did want to stay true to my reading theme. This will be read very, very quickly. The feelings I feel for this story, and I can't wait to read it and have it in my little noggin, annotate it, cry about it, just absolutely love it. So in this section, I'm just going to do all my Dear America books that I have so far. So the first one right at the top is Color Me Dark, The Diary of Nellie Lee Love, The Great Migration North, Chicago, Illinois, 1919. And this is about a girl who their family go north, in the 1900s, obviously. What I loved about Dear America books is they're always traveling usually or going somewhere. Like, there's a lot of books about immigration. They're very rarely just staying in one place, but sometimes they are, like this next one. I really enjoy reading Dear America books as an adult. It just takes me right back to being a kid and staying up till like 4 a.m. even though I definitely have school the next day. I'm reading these girls' diaries and I really enjoy them. The author of these are not Black. I believe that's Patricia McKissick. From my memory and what I've read as an adult, I feel like she does do these stories well. She does do her research. At the end of all these books, a little history blurb about what was going on at the time and talking about certain situations. And I do feel like Patricia does give it the grace that it needs, although these are written for children, so that gives her a lot of wiggle room. The next one I have read this one recently. I Thought My Soul Would Rise and Fly, The Diary of Patsy, a Freed Girl. Mars Bluff, South Carolina, 1865. And like I said, I read this one probably a year or so ago, and it was very good. I even tabbed some parts, and it definitely deserves a sticker. It was very well done. The next one is A Picture of Freedom, Diary of Claudie, a Slave Girl, Belmont Plantation, 1859. I have not read this one, but I'm very interested to read her story. I'm always interested in the books that are written from the perspective of enslaved people because, as we all know, they were not allowed to read or write or learn how to do these things. So the way that they navigate learning that process and how they do it. Patsy learned from being the nanny to the kids of the slave owner, sat in the class with them, and that's how she learned. So I always love learning how these people might have, because these are fictional, might have learned how to read or might have learned how to write to justify this diary existing. I remember as a kid always thinking, like, what would I have done to become literate if I didn't have the privilege of going to school? So I always enjoy that. And then next up is a royal diary, which I also very much loved growing up, of Cleopatra the Seventh, Diary of, or Daughter of the Nile, Egypt, 57 BC. I wanted this one so bad as a child. I don't remember if I read it, but I wanted it to own it as a copy, so I very much love that I do now. And I'm very excited to read this. Because, you know, Egypt is in Africa and it is Black history. Don't let anyone ever tell you different. Anyway, moving on. Next up is Ring Shout. This is by P. Djèlí Clark. I read this maybe last summer. I really love the cover, the attention to detail. Like, it looks like it's got bloody fingerprints on it. The mouth eyes. I need to read this again. I did enjoy it. I thought it was very well done. I think this would make a beautiful movie. Like, think Sinners. It's very much that vibe. Descriptions of the monsters in this is so good. I found it difficult to read, but that was me, not the book, not the writing. There was nothing wrong with that. I think I just wasn't in the right headspace for it. And I do want to do a reading theme where I reread books. So that's gonna come up. Next up is The Nickel Boys by Colston Whitehead. I believe this is a book about a reformatory school. I've heard nothing but great things about it. This cover is dirty. I got the second hand. If you buy books from thrift books, it really is a gamble. It's like you're either going to get a pristine copy or the nastiest. Like, some of these look like they literally were pulled out of the trash. I don't know. I don't know who is deciding what like a good condition book is, but maybe I should stop being so cheap. The Nickel Boys, which I'm very excited about. I'm very interested in the reform schools. I kind of done a few deep dives on them in the past, so I want to read more about them and have my little heart broken, honestly, because I mean, if you know anything about the reformatory schools, white or black, boys or girls, like, it was just not a good thing. And they're still happening. Look at a U Teen Challenge. No, we're not gonna get into that right now. We're gonna move on. Cause we'll just get distracted. Next up is Kindred by Octavia Butler. This is about a girl who goes back in time. It's very like Outlander. Touch a rock, go back in time. That's the vibe. Very excited to read this, and I've heard so many good things about it, and I'm very excited to dig into this. Speaking of reformatory schools, we have The Reformatory by Tananarive Due. I have soft DNF this because it was a little difficult for me at the time. I wasn't in the right headspace, but this is following another child in a reform school, although this is a ghost story. This is a haunted story. I've heard such good things about this, but it is definitely a horror for the actual things that happened to this boy and the supernatural things that happened to this boy, and I just wasn't in the right headspace. We have another one by Colston Whitehead, The Underground Railroad. I accidentally got a large print of this, but like, look how and I know people need this, so I'm not making fun of people who need this. This will be very easy for me to read because sometimes I struggle to read for long stints because my eyes get so tired and I can't focus on it. And the smaller the print, the harder it gets. So I'll probably be able to breeze through this quite quickly. This is, I believe, about, yes, enslaved people going on the Underground Railroad. So very excited to read that. And then this is a book that I've had in my collection for over a decade. I bought it at a bookstore that no longer exists in my town. I miss you every day. R.I.P. Hastings. Oh, there's like, look, there's a little flyer in it from Hastings. They used to have UCD. Like, oh my god, bring Hastings back. Midnight release. Oh my god. That's so funny. I wish there was a date on here. 2012. Ooh. And my receipt, what else did I buy? Did I only buy this? I think I did only buy this. Yeah, I got this for $4.15. Anyway, this is Song Yet Sung by James McBride. They wrote The Color of Water. And I don't know, I was just so entranced by this cover. Couldn't leave it. I just remember thinking, like, I can't leave this book. And then I never read it. I'm not sure what this is about. It is set in 1850, so Civil War, slave time. I do want to read this, though. This cover is so beautiful. It's so stunning. I couldn't leave her. I couldn't leave him. I had to buy the book. I just remember feeling so... I used to go into Hastings to kill time, you know? Rarely had any money, but I did have the $4.15 for this. Okay, that's all the historical fiction. Moving on, a big one. This is an art book that my partner got for me when we first got together. We went to a comic book store and I saw it and I thought, oh, that's very cool. And they just picked it up for me and I love gifts like that where you're like, oh, I love this. And then suddenly it's here. Love it. I am a double Taurus with a Cancer moon, so. But it is Black Comics Return. This is by John Jennings and Damian Duffy. And it's just a huge art book of Black comic book artists. Comic books with Black characters in it. And I just thought it was very, very cool. I would show you, but there's like no good way to hold this up. Also the cover. Oh, what a stunning, beautiful queen. But it's just a coffee table book. Let me see if I can find... And there's little blurbs in it about the comics, about the author. It's just like their art and talking about the comics. And I just thought it was very stunning and beautiful. I do love an art book. Very happy to have this in my collection. Next up is a sci-fi novel, Brown Girl in the Ring by Nello Hopkins. I've heard such good things about their sci-fi, and this is the first one I picked up. I just picked one up at random. I do want to get more into sci-fi, and I thought if I'm going to do that, I want to read Black authors. Also, the covers of their sci-fi novels are so interesting to me, such beautiful art. Next up is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This was the first book that I read when I got back into reading. I absolutely tabbed the hell out of it. I really enjoyed this book. This book is about Emmanuel, who is a mixed race girl, which I really related to, being one myself. Well, I'm not a girl. I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. I'm a secret third thing that you'll never know. And I really related to this. I really enjoyed this book. The ending could have been better, but this is a debut novel. I really want to read House of Hunger and I haven't picked it up yet. I haven't found it out in the wild or anything. But I'm always keeping an eye out for Miss Henderson. I also love this cover. She's stunning. And this is a book I also want to reread. I would recommend this. I think this was a very good YA fantasy, dark fantasy novel. Not dark as in like problematic. It's just dark themes. It's dark like as in like literally lacks light. If that makes sense. Next, Children of Blood and Bone by Tome Adememe. I read this so long ago and I haven't read the second. I have the second book in the series and I haven't read it. Haven't bought the third one because I felt like I should read the second one. But this is a fantasy novel. It was very good. I really enjoyed the character development and the magic system. I enjoyed reading it immensely. I can't remember anything that I had an issue with where I topped my head, but again, it was a while ago. Also, I love the sprayed edges on this. The second book, which is Children of Virtue and Vengeance, also has this decorative sprayed edging. I do need to get on to finishing the series. I don't really like series because I'm bad about finishing them, but this is a trilogy, so it's not like there's 25 books in this series. There were a lot of elements that I enjoyed in it. I can't think of anything I didn't like. It does have multiple point of views, which I like. I guess apparently people hate that. I've been seeing a lot of videos where what's your book ick and it's like multiple POVs, and I'm like, maybe it's the ADHD. I keep up just fine. I don't know. It's fine for me. But yeah, I think that's a good fantasy if that's what you're into, if that's your vibe. Delicious Monsters by Lascelle Sambury. I love this. This is a ghost thriller story. The main character, they can see ghost, and you learn this very quickly. But I really enjoyed this. The ghost story in this was so good. The B plots were very good. The character development was good. I have no notes. I really enjoyed this book. If you're wanting a ghost story, a little thriller, a little romp in a haunted house, some family secrets, you will like this. And also I found it very quick to read. It is a chunker, but I did not find this difficult to get through. Also, this book has a nice flop. I would recommend Delicious Monsters. I really enjoyed it. Next up is Tinder Beast by Lascelles Sambury. And I just love this cover. I'm kind of sad it's a hardcover. I'm a paperback person. That's my preferred way to read. This is a thriller as well. A murder mystery, I think. I don't know what it's about, but I like going into thrillers that way. And I really enjoyed Delicious Monsters. I really like Lascelles' writing. And I want to read more from her. I do want to read Blood Like Magic. I just haven't gotten it yet. I will look for that for sure. But I'm always keeping an eye out if they've written a new book or anything. Lascelles, if you need someone to read an arc, I'll give a before the book comes out review. You know how to get a hold of me. You know how to get a hold of me. I would love to, please. Oh, we're so close to being done. We're so close to being done. Next up is a book I just picked up recently, is Immortal Dark by Tigist Grima. And this is a vampire story. I guess there's a second one, Eternal Ruin. And all I know, it's about black vampires, and that's all I needed to know. That's all I needed to know. I think it's a dark academia as well. The cover is absolutely stunning. And I want to read this so quickly. Like, I can't even tell you. In fact, I think my next reading theme is going to be based around this. Just to have an excuse. I could just read it. I don't need excuse, but you know. This next book is an urban fantasy duology. Sci-fi, maybe? Not 100% sure. But it is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin and The World We Make. I believe those are standalone, but I wanted to have both. And I actually bought the second one thinking it was the first one. But I since remedied that. I don't know anything about these other than people either love them or hate them. People are either really into them or they think they're garbage. So we'll see what camp I fall into. Again, I'm trying to get my sci-fi fantasy game up. So starting with black authors I think is an appropriate way to go. And I am excited about these. I probably will read them back to back as I have them. Hopefully I'll read the first one and really want to dig in to the second. Ooh, they wrote How Long Till Black Future Month. That's one I've been wanting to read. Ooh, and the 5th season. Okay. I didn't realize they wrote that. Okay. Next up, change of topic, is a romance. I'm not a huge romance person. That's not the genre that I gravitate towards. You know, I like a little bit of romance in my books, but I don't like that to be the prime focus. I like it to be a B-C plot. You know, very much in the background. That's kind of how I feel about it. Not that I don't like love. I be kicking my feet. Like, I get it. I be screaming. This book made me pterodactyl scream in the first few chapters. So my partner came in the room, was like, are you good? And I was like, I'm reading. It's like, is the book that good? And I was like, yes, it is. And that is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I loved this book. I devoured it in like less than a week, which for me is very, very fast. This follows two writers who met as teenagers, met again as adults, and rekindle the love they had when they spent 1 week in June together as teenagers. And it's so good. Tia gets it. And this is coming from, again, someone who is not into romance. If you are into romance and you haven't read this, what's wrong with you? I don't think you're diversifying your reading, but I really, really enjoyed it. Also has great representation for chronic pain, specifically migraines, which I also have. So I related a lot to that aspect. The female main character has a daughter, which I really enjoyed the mother-daughter relationship that they had. It was the found family in this. Oh my God, it's all coming back to me. It's all coming back to me, and it's very, very, very good. I read this and immediately told my reading friend, like, hey, what are you doing? What are you reading right now? It's like, nothing. I was like, go read 7 Days in June. And they dropped everything and read it. If that's not an endorsement, I don't know what is. But 7 Days in June is very, very good. Next up is another romance that I picked up basically on suggestion. I haven't read it yet because, again, not my thing so much, but that is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I don't know anything about this. I think this is a second chance romance, if memory serves me correct. Yeah, they used to be, they're divorced and they're like maybe gonna get remarried. I always think that's messy when people get divorced and they're remarried, but you know, I've never been married or divorced, so what the fuck do I know? So next up is a book that I have read. It is Ace of Spades by Frida Abike Ademende. I read this probably 2 years ago. I do have a video of me chatting about it. I believe it's my first quarter reading wrap-up video where I talk about this book in more in depth. But this book follows two students in like a prestigious fancy private school. We have Chameka and Devin. First day of school, they get a text from Aces. Chameka and Devin are from two different social groups. So they don't even hang out as the only two black students in school. Chameka is like a rich kid whose parents just pay the tuition, and Devin is a scholarship kid. They have to join together to figure out, somebody's like actively trying to sabotage them. They got to figure out who Aces is. You know, if you know a lot about how Ace of Spades is used with some hateful groups in the US, and again, the plot twist is already given to you, but I did enjoy this. It's a YA. I didn't find the plot twist like super shocking. I wasn't like, what? The white kids are racist? Their parents are racist? And I did have some icks and gripes with the writing, but I do think it's a good thriller, and I think you should pick it up. This is a book I haven't shut up about since I read it, and I'm gonna tell you again, please read this. It's Black History Month. It's perfect time. Read it. And that is Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adije Brenna. I love this book. I got it from the library and I wanted a copy immediately. It was so good. I want to reread this so I can cry and feel all the feelings I did when I was reading it the first time. It is a dystopian set in the future, near future, but I think especially now with everything's going on in the world, this is relevant. This could be our future in the next 10 to 15 years. In fact, the current president, not my president, just happens to be in the position president, mentioned a Hunger Games, like, I think it's called Patriot Games. This is what if the Patriot Games happened. And I just think you should read it. Please read it. Nobody's talking about this book in the booktube community, book talk. I very rarely see anybody talking about it. I don't understand why. Chain Gang All-Stars, I am in your comments. And all of you are ignoring me, and it's very rude. It's very rude. Please diversify your reading. If anything, this is just a video to tell you that there are books out there that you can read of all kinds. Please. Okay, I'm stepping off my soapbox. We have one stack left, and I have 15 minutes to get through them, so let's see if I can do it. First up is Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and this is set in Nigeria. And I'm not sure what it's about. I know that's set in Nigeria. I know that it is, and they immigrate to America. Okay, so it's about immigration. We love that. Immigrants are important and we should protect them at all costs. They immigrate to America post 9/11, and then they're like, they become undocumented in London. Okay, there's a lot going on in this. So they're trying to get to America, but they can't. Okay, intrigued. I bought that secondhand because I saw someone else talk about it and I was like, oh, I want to read that. Next up is Pet by Aweki Imzi. I know this is about a queer person. Everyone says this is very, very good. It's a horror. I literally picked it up based on recommendation alone. I've been told this is a book you want to go into blind, so I don't know too much about it. Next is a book I was very excited to finally get my grubby little hands on because I'm a huge fan of Chain Gang All-Stars, and that is Friday Black by Nana Kwame Adije Brenna. This is his collection of short stories, and I wanted to read more from him. So I was very excited to finally find a copy of Friday Black, and I can't wait to read it. It also has beveled edges, which I love. I'm a beveled edge person. I enjoy those. I'm not a huge fan of short stories. Like, I've never been a person to read them, but I just love Chain Gang All-Stars so much. I can't wait to read this and then tell you to read it as well and bully you into reading it, honestly. Next is a thriller, One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole. I will admit, I have softy enough this. I wasn't feeling a thriller at the time. This follows a woman who has a DID, gets a job taking care of a old lady in a house, I'm pretty sure, as a caregiver, or they're taking care of the house. I don't remember exactly. It's giving The Only One Left. I do want to try to read this again just to see if I can get into it, but I think I did tab it quite a bit. before I gave up on it. From what I remember, it's definitely like a popcorn thriller. Like, if Frida McFadden can become what she's become, then so can Alyssa Cole. Go off, girl. Keep writing. That's what I say. That's what I say. I tell people all the time, if Twilight can exist, then whatever you can write can exist. And then the final book, only because it's at the bottom of the stack and no reason other than that, is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Frida Adbike Ademene. This is her second novel, also set in a school. I did soft DNF this because I just had books I was more interested in reading at the time, but I do want to finish this. That is every Black book in my collection. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I know that was a doozy. I had way more than I thought I did, which is very impressive to me. Please let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know if there's any books I should add to my collection. Let me know any authors I need to keep an eye out for, because I know that I'm lacking in that department as well. I would love to know your thoughts. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so I can what? Everybody's together now. I can quit my 9 to 5. Yes! Manifesting. If you don't feel like commenting or you're nervous or shy, you can just leave me your favorite emoji. Leave me a book emoji. Please celebrate Black History Month. Please learn about a new person that you've never heard about before. Deep dive into somebody, deep dive into a historical event, learn something new. It doesn't have to be tragic. It could just be learn about a Black inventor, like learn about a singer, like dig into some like Nina Simone or Billie Holiday. Something, do something, celebrate Black history because it's important. Reparations is key. Remember to be a community member. Remember to call your senators because they're not doing a good job and you need to tell them that because they work for us. So remember that. We'll get through this together. Thanks you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here so much. And I will see you in my next video. Goodbye. 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 I'm losing my voice. Goodbye. 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 I'm delirious. Goodbye.